I got into an argument with one of my homies who, like me, is a Miami Hurricanes fan. And he was telling me that Florida State is going to lose to Miami because of how they looked in their upset loss to Virginia. And I was telling him that you can't define Florida State by their first loss against Virginia, because the Florida State team that we saw against Virginia is not going to be the same Florida State team that shows up this Saturday against Miami. This is a prime bounce back opportunity for Florida State. They beat Alabama week 1 in Doak Campbell. That wasn't a fluke win. Alabama just beat Georgia. So Alabama is a good team, which means that FSU has to be a pretty good team too. Now, although Florida State isn't as talented as what Miami is, rivalry games aren't decided by who has the more talented rosters. Rivalry games are much different from any other ordinary regular season game because you know this team better than anybody else. You play them every single year. You know their habits. You know their tendencies. So when you have a team that is just above average, they can punch up with their rival. We've seen it plenty of times with Michigan upsetting Ohio State despite being a 3-touchdown underdog last year. You also seen it several times when you see Alabama getting upset by Auburn. You know, the best team doesn't always win. Talent is a small part of the equation to determining the outcome of games. You got to go out there and make the plays. And in rivalry games like Miami, FSU, you can assure that this is going to be a game that comes down to the wire. And this is a Miami fan. I'm not expecting for Miami to just roll Florida State. And I don't think that this is going to be the easy win that my homie and some other folks out there are trying to make it out to be. When you have to play your rival, it's hard to win, especially if you got to play your rival in their home turf. And winning on the road in college football, we all know, is very difficult. The majority of upset losses occur on the road. And we've seen a lot of upset road losses happen every single week. And we very well could see another one happen in Doak Campbell with Miami. Could we get a Mario Cristobal special? Is this going to be one of those games that Miami plays down the competition somewhat? Because Miami is expected to win this game by a good majority of people. A lot of folks that I talk to sound like they would be really shocked if Florida State could pull this win out. And even though I still believe Miami will win this game, I wouldn't be shocked if they lose it. And just because I'm a fan of this team doesn't mean that I'm just blindly going to believe that Miami's going to win every single game for the sake of it. Because I bet on these games. And you can't bet on these games using your fandom to affect your judgment with what games you bet on and which games you don't. And right now, Miami is a 4.5 point favorite. I feel really hard pressed right now to take Florida State to cover that plus 4.5 point spread. I think that this is a game that's going to come down to the last play, a game-winning field goal, a game-winning sack, and that ends up being a difference in it. I know that Miami is more talented than Florida State, but I'm trying to tell you people that you can't always judge and gauge these rivalry games off talent, off momentum, because college football is a week-to-week game. Just because Florida State lost to Virginia last week doesn't mean that they're locked to lose to Miami, because we've seen plenty of teams have an upset loss the previous week and come back with the big bounce back win the following week. Prime example, look at what Illinois just did to USC after they got a 60 burger put on them by Indiana. So never underestimate the motivation of an upset loss and home field advantage. And those two things make me a little bit concerned about Miami's chances of walking out of Doak Campbell with a W. If you are a fan of the NFL and your favorite team needs to draft a quarterback next year, they're SOL, because this year's quarterback class, run that back. If you're a fan of the NFL and your favorite team has to draft a quarterback in next year's draft, they're going to be SOL, because if you thought this past year's quarterback class was bad, next year's quarterback class is going to be 2 times more worse, because there's probably only about 2 quarterbacks right now that will be worthy of consideration of first-round selections. Run that back. If you're a fan of the NFL and your favorite team has to draft a quarterback in next year's draft, you're SOL.